All right, guys, we're doing fascia and soffit, and all of our soffit has to get vents. So we go out there, we measure our run or our length of our soffit, which I know this one is 33 foot 10 inches, and our vent holes are about 14 inches, which is my guide here, 14 by 6, and we want equal spacing in between each vent to make it look good. A lot of guys just pull a certain measurement, and then however it ends up at the end, they just go with it. We want equal spacing. So for 33 foot 10, I know I want about 4 holes. So I go 33 foot 10 inches, and then I want about 4 holes. I have a 14-inch piece, so that's 56 inches of hole. 33 foot 10 inch minus 56 inches, and if there's 4 holes, that means there's 5 spaces. So now I divide it by 5. I have 5 foot 10 inches in between each of my holes, so I'm going to measure over 5 foot 10. I have my vent hole. I'm going to measure over 5 foot 10. I have a vent hole. I measure over 5 foot 10. I have a vent hole. I measure over 5 foot 10. I have a vent, and my last, from this last vent to the end of sheet, is going to be 5 foot 10, and that's the way we get everything equally spaced. Then I'll measure it all, cut it all out. I'll mark each one how they go in, 1 sheet, 2 sheet, 3 sheet, because they're only 8 foot, and then I'll bring it over. Will will install it. He knows exactly where and how it all goes. You want me to do it? And we want our vent about 3 inches from, this will be where our fascia sits, so our vent will be about 3 inches in. Take my guide, all the marks. That's my first vent hole. Then I take my excess. I know I have 11 7/8. So I take my next sheet. That's the next sheet, 2. I want it starting from the north end of the house. I burn my 11 7/8 I had from the hole to the next sheet. Pull over 5 foot 10. That starts my next vent. And then I just repeat the process until I have a 33 foot 10 worth of soffit. What do you mean?
So like all the sheets are ripped?
Yeah, I ripped them all. So Will goes up. One of us goes up and measures the length of our soffit. We also measure the width, and then I'll take our 4x8 sheet and rip it down to the width that I actually need. This tells me where it goes. We only have one long east wall. This will be the east wall.
So Gabe, as you guys saw, just finished doing the soffit, cutting those vent holes and getting everything done. So that is going to be going, as you saw, he said the east end. So this is going to be the east end of the house, and it's going right up there. So all along there is where this is going to go. Sorry, I'm pointing off. Right along there is where that's going to go. And then that's going to be the vent holes, and then all these right here, the slanted ones, gables, like here in the front. Let me show you guys. Here in the front up here, that gable right there, these other gables is already, it's going to have pre-ripped sheets of soffit, so, and we don't have to do vent holes for those. Those will just go straight up. Only vent holes on the straights. So right here straight, up there straight, but those slanted ones, those are going to have no vents in them. And the reason for the vents is just for air circulation inside of the house, so the air can get in and it can get out as well. It just helps with ventilation of the house. That's why it vents. So yeah, ventilation of the house. And then on the outside, obviously, you're going to have your fascia. It says it in the name, fascia is going to be on the outside. Guys, so what we got going on here, it's now we are ripping 2x4s. So all the 2x4s, bracing that we had around the house. So as you guys saw earlier in the earlier videos, we had a bunch of braces all in here. So we took all of those down and we stacked them up, cut the ends off where the nails were. We just bent the nails over and cut the ends off. And now we're just ripping them right here. We're ripping them into 2-inch rips. So just right down the center and the half. And those are going to go up here. So right here where we're doing soffit, these 2 inches are going to be nailed up against the zip system, and that's going to be our backing so we can nail the soffit into it. And I'll show you guys more in depth once we get up there how that goes, but that's what we're doing right now, ripping these 2x4s into 2 inchers.
We got the string line snapped.
What the hell with that guy? Okay. I dropped my hose.
Oh.
Right here. Alright, well, stop it. Dom is the main character.
I know. He's got the mic on.
I am him.
Are you recording?
Yo, bet.
Oh. So we ran our chalk line from the bottom of the subfascia over there, and then we took a 2-foot level over here, leveled it up against this, made a mark, ran a chalk line all the way through, and then we're going to take our 2x2s and we'll run them. Is that far enough out, Will?
Yeah, that'll work. Are you good?
Yep. We run them along here like so. Keeping the 2x2 straight on the chalk line. Once we get all these on, we take our soffit and we lay it up here, and it holds the other end of the soffit up against the house, and it'll be all nice and flat. Now we're putting our soffit up here. We want it
flush with this here so our fascia sits flat.
We're gonna put the metal
Then you can go back. Now we take a little 12-inch block here. We run it on the inside. And then that creates a point for this one to get nailed to right at the seam. So get that all nice and tight. Go out a little bit. Yep.
I didn't have it.
Do we want to do 2 1/4?
Yeah, let's.
Alright, we're slapping on our fascia now. And we're going 2 1/4 off the bottom of the sub fascia. That way everything matches around the house. We'll tack it with an 8 there, and then we do one in the middle, and then when we get it run all the way down, then we'll set up a string line from end to end and make sure that it's all perfectly level up and down. More or less flush here. All right, so we're getting our blocks ready to run our string line across it to straighten it all out. Get a couple screws in. And then we'll get our square on here. Mark the bottom of it, because we're going to run our string on the outside of this 2x. So that line there is the bottom of our fascia. And then we'll sink an 8 in there. Get our bottom line. Like so. Twist her on up. Pull it nice and tight. Good. Then we're going to go through with the gun and get everything up and down where she needs to be. She's pretty close right there. Main thing is going to be the seams. Can you sight it from the end?
You just look across the string line at it.
pretty good right there. Good there. So now we'll measure 2 inches from the face of this. We're putting our vents in. So we'll make our mark. He already marked that one. And then he's gonna go down to the other end, make a mark down there. And then we'll snap us a line. That way all of our vents are perfectly straight, running all the way through. Yeah. And then we'll match up the front of our vents to that blue line. That should be good. So we just got aluminum soffit vents here. Get your screw ready, and you want the vents, they're slotted like that. You want that facing back. So we'll get one right there. And then get this one, and if you angle the screw just a hair, it'll pull it nice and tight so it doesn't warp. Just like that. There you go. That's how we do soffit and fascia.
Moving on, guys, we are now putting the soffit and fascia on these gables here. So as we can see, the boys have already started on one half of it. And as you guys can see, they've put the soffit on already and the fascia, and then they also got, is that a 1x3? 1x3 piece, just kind of as an accent on the top, kind of makes it look a lot better than just having the big fascia board. A couple things is, so right here, on this building, we have these bump outs right here, and on these, you have an angle. So as you guys can see, we got angles down there, an angle for the soffit, and kind of the way we found the exact angle for it to make it look nice is it was kind of just trial and error process for it. There's no like real way to do it, so we just kind of grabbed a piece of soffit and a piece of fascia, and we just kind of worked it until we could get the right angle. So it's kind of just using your common sense and kind of getting it to where you need to be. There's no set process or any recipe for it. Just kind of got to use your brain on it. And then on the bottom, as you guys can see, there's a little bit of caulk, so we put the caulk on the bottom of there. Kind of helps where it keeps water out of it. But yeah, it's pretty simple putting the soffit fascia on these. As you guys can see, they're just trying the trial and error process for the soffit. And then once they get the right angle, they'll measure, and they get the measurement, making it perfect because we don't want to have any spacing in between any of it. If there is any spacing on it, we just put some caulk in between the holes. It was just okay. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much how you put the Soffit and Facia on these Gables. It's pretty simple. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys had any questions on any of the processes at all, let me know, and I'd be happy to go more in depth. Planning on later in the next couple builds. We got a couple big builds going on, so I'll be going more in depth kind of into each one of those. So definitely hit that subscribe button so you guys can see more content. I did want to show you guys kind of just a couple, like a walk around of kind of everything that was done, just so you guys can kind of see everything, how it looked, how it turned out. But yeah, it was a great video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.